thank you very much for election and thank you very much for your visit to Russia. And I have a small question for you. You talk about the Vision Studio, the drawings, and do you use some maybe technical or IT, Internet of Things stuff in your museum, and how to interact with the people with the disabilities?
Well, we do work with our media lab at the Metropolitan Museum. We have a Department of Digital Media, and the media lab is part of that, and they use and sort of experiment with new or emerging technologies to see how they might be applicable in a museum environment. And we've worked together on a few projects to look at using technology to enhance accessibility and inclusion in the museum. So one thing we actually, I taught a graduate course with my digital media colleagues on accessibility technology and museums at Parsons, the New School for Design. So it was Master of Fine Arts students in technology, and they looked at things like audio tactile graphics and eye tracking as a way of monitoring engagement and communicating. Students were developing a sensory-friendly map app for the museum, so that to help people find parts of the museum that were accessible physically, but also for people with any kind of sensory stimulation issue. And let's see, we've also worked on bringing telepresence robots to the museum to help people who are in the hospital or stuck in their homes because of illness or disability. They could participate in a museum tour. We're trying to bring that into the museum. And then we've also worked to make the website accessible to blind people who use screen readers and who need description of images of works of art on the website, and that kind of thing.
Okay, maybe some kind of 3D modeling or all this touching stuff.
I'm sorry?
I mean, when we have some sculpture, do you use 3D modeling to
3D printing?
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah,
yes, it's interesting that there's a lot of talk about using 3D printing to make objects accessible to blind people, and I think that there's a lot to be explored there. However, the material, the physical qualities of the object are such an important part of the tactile experience, and when you're 3D printing a copy of an object, you often end up with a material that's completely different from the original, different weight, different temperature, different texture, and so whereas you might be able to give access to the form of that object to someone who's blind, which may be your objective, you can't recreate the materiality of the object yet. I'm sure that will come in the future. So it depends on the goal, I think, as to how useful 3D printed copies can be in offering access to blind people. But there's a lot of potential, definitely.
And maybe you notice some trends for technology using for people with disabilities, and especially in the museums. Well,
I think there's certainly the trend to offer experiences that visitors can tailor individually, whether they have disabilities or not. You can use your smart device to create your own experience and get the information that you want, and that's great for people with disabilities. That means that they can also tailor information and the way they receive information to meet their particular needs using the devices that they have set up to be accessible to them. That bodes well for museum accessibility, that emphasis on individual user experiences.